We may live over 5,000 miles from Lincoln Financial Field, but what we lack in proximity, we make up for in film study. And each and every week, we'll be bringing you in-depth film breakdowns from across the pond and the Sooner State. Welcome to On the Shane page. I'm your host, Shane Haff. You can follow me on Twitter at ShaneHaffNFL. And I'm joined by BGN's own film guru, Jonny Page. Give him a follow on Twitter at JohnnyPage9. Jonny, how you doing this evening?
Was that funkiness of preseason for you as well there, Shane?
Well, last time we didn't play the intro video because I had already shared my screen and I couldn't play it with my screen shared. And I guess since we last used the video, it stopped automatically removing it when it was done playing. And so I was off the tab completely and I had to go back and take it off. So yeah, just peek behind the curtain there. All is well in preseason land.
I feel like we haven't done this live for so long as well. We're like, what does live feel like again? We've got a few kinks around it ourselves. Yes, I'm good. Busy as always, staying off air. I somewhat hate preseason, which is always good for a podcaster who covers it and has to write about it and wrote like 4,000 words with Bleeding Green this week. I like individuals, but I find myself, and I don't know about you, but especially this week, and it's a shame but there are certain players that are just like, they're not even on the roster bubble, and I'm like, I'm not watching them. I actually put this in my newsletter last week, Sean. I don't know if you read it before you stole the idea for yourself, but I put something on there quite controversial at the start where I just said, like, anyone that has an opinion on every player after every game, just don't listen to them, because watching NFL film is really time consuming to do it properly. And that's a problem. You could spend like minutes on hours on one player or one game. So I really try to look at certain individuals in this week. So I didn't look at barely any receivers, for example, because I was like, nope. And it was pretty much on offense, as we'll get into. It was like offensive line was cool, and that was that. And then Ty Robinson was cool, a bit of Keely Ringo. So it is just, it is one of the ways of preseason I find myself gravitating towards certain players. I think there's a few interesting things from this game, but I'm always wary of making too many bold statements about players. But there are a few things that I liked that we can get into. But I am very, very ready for real NFL film and not this. But yes, how are you as well?
Much the same. I am so ready to be done with the preseason. I did not watch the second preseason game live. I just hop straight into the All-22 on Monday. And I know you've said you've done that before for some of the late night games.
I have to.
I feel
it's a strange experience.
Yeah, well, I feel like in the preseason it wasn't that strange. I'd have to do it to a regular season game, which I don't plan to do, but it was sort of a quasi Jonny experience, not watching the broadcast version of the game.
I mean, to be fair though, I normally watch it's very rarely that I won't watch the game before the All-22. So I'll get up early and watch the broadcast without knowing the score and then watch the All-22. I think preseason is probably the only time I never watch the broadcast first. Maybe if I'm ill or it's a Monday night and I'm super busy. But it is very, very unusual for me not to watch the broadcast. I try and have that fan experience, which I struggle with because I've got a notes app on my phone and I'm like, oh, that was cool. But I try and enjoy the broadcast experience as a fan and the All-22 as a job. Because, you can enjoy football, but no one's going to tell me you enjoy watching every single snap of someone for the All-22 all the time. So should we get into it anyway? Is there anything you wanted to hit before we get into the actual preseason Week 2 film? We are going to talk about roster cuts at the end of this week. I actually think it's quite interesting, 53. So it was a good sign when I'm struggling to get to 53, when I look at the Titans, and I'm like, can they get to 23?
Yeah.
They're any good, so that's quite nice. Is there anything you wanted to mention? I've got a couple of things. Anything on your mind before we begin, or do you want to get straight into Week 2 preseason?
I do want to talk about, if I can get this to work, I do want to talk about at some point the clip going around online of Jalen Hurts throwing the touchdown pass to Saquon Barkley that for some reason people decided to complain about. I posted something about it on Twitter, but I know not all of our viewers are on Twitter. So it looks like people should be able to see this now. So this was making the rounds on Reddit, on Twitter, and I posted a Twitter video kind of breaking this play down. But I wanted to do it on the podcast just to talk about why we're complaining about Jalen Hurts throwing a touchdown in a scrimmage. And so let's look at this play here. So you're going to get a tight end motioning across the formation eventually, because we motion now, and that's cool. But you notice this safety on the side the tight end motions to. Who's 83, by the way? Is that Jonny Munt? I'm not sure.
83. I don't even recognize the name in preseasons. Let's have a look.
Yeah, I'm going to guess it's Munt because I haven't seen the number.
Yes, okay. I was going to say.
So you've got Jonny Munt motions across, and it causes the safety to roll down to the line of scrimmage. And so at the snap, the Eagles are going to run a concept. They're going to have Devontae Smith just runs vertically, and he's going to drive this cornerback off. And then you're going to get Jonny Munt releasing out to the flat, which pulls the safety. And that leaves Saquon Barkley one-on-one with a linebacker. I believe it's Zach Bond. And you kind of set up, I think it's probably an option type route where he could break to the inside, or he can break to the corner of the end zone, depending on how Bond plays this. But on this play, he's going to break to the corner of the end zone.
Josh Grizzard loves an option route. When I watch a lot of his Buck stuff, I think we'll see a lot of that at the backfield this year.
And so what you're going to see here is that Mekhi Lemon is like Pop Warner football wide open. Like Jonny could throw this ball to Mekhi Lemon over the middle of the field. Well, assuming he could see over the interior of the offensive line, but Jonny would have the arm to make this throw. It's wide open, and people were like, why doesn't he throw it to Mekhi Lemon? Well, the reason he doesn't throw it to Mekhi Lemon is because we're not playing Madden. If you were a Madden player and you threw this up to Saquon Barkley, I would say you need to practice some more, because you should throw to the wide open guy over the middle of the field. But in Madden, you have the benefit of seeing everything. And a quarterback,
Shane, you mean quarterbacks don't pause the play?
They don't.
And they don't look around the field with
see the whole field at once.
What?
And so while it's true that Mekhi Lemon is open, the front side concept, which is the side we've drawn this up for, got exactly what it wanted. You've got the cornerback, hips open to the middle of the field, the safety's in the flat. So we are 100% one-on-one Saquon Barkley against a linebacker, and I'm going to take that. And so he's going to break to the back of the end zone. Jalen Hurts puts it on him. Is it a harder throw than the Mekhi Lemon throw? It is. They complete it for a touchdown. And I'll play it again without stopping it while I talk. But it's just, you can get to a good result, because somebody said in the Discord when I was talking about it, like, it's a touchdown, so who cares? Well, I do care, because bad process can lead to a good result, and that's called luck, and it's not sustainable. And similarly, good process can lead to a bad result, like an interception. And I don't get overly concerned about those. There's plays where you just tip your hat to the defense and you move on. But this one, Hurts doesn't go to Lemon, because Lemon is the guy he would progress to if they didn't get the look that they wanted. They got the look they wanted. He takes it. It doesn't have anything to do with Jalen Hurts can't throw over the middle of the field. And so that was making the rounds on social media. And it's more interesting of a conversation to me than anything from the preseason game. And it is film. So I thought I wanted to talk about it at some point during the show.
What I love is that you would rather talk about training camp film than real preseason film. There are genuine people out there.
It has an actual quarterback that will play in an NFL game this year. So I'm all in.
There are people out there that will actually say, oh, my wife's just showing me a wonderful picture of a ginormous spider in our kitchen, which is a way to interrupt the podcast, but that's you're on your own there. That's a good luck. This preseason film, this is hardcore analysis going on here. So unfortunately, we can't break the pod for a spider. So it's all on you. You can hear it if you want. That is very rarely happen on a live stream. It is a pretty big spider, to be fair. That's also more interesting than preseason week 2. Sorry.
For the American viewers that missed the mailbags this summer, when Jonny says Hoover, he means vacuum. Go ahead.
Vacuum, yeah. Dyson, do you use Dyson out there? Same brand?
That's a brand, yes.
Yeah,
but
brand,
no, but
innit?
we
But-
don't use that.
Well, you could do, couldn't you? It's a big
I
brand.
have a Dyson, and when I use it, I call it vacuuming, not Dysoning.
I think some people actually do call it Dyson over here. So yeah, if you hear like a very loud noise and a spider crying out, that'll be from next door. What I was going to say before I was very nicely interrupted was there are a lot of people online these days, and I think I probably agree with them, that would argue that joint practices and practices are more important for analysing film than preseason. I probably care more about like if BLG tells me that someone's really not been very good for the whole training camp and they have like 4 catches for 80 yards. I'm not like going to be like, wow. I probably care more about training camp reports these days, in all honesty. Preseason just gives me the chance to actually see it.
It's a great comment here from Kevin as we get the vacuum noise in the background on Johnny's end. He says this conversation's growing legs, which I'm assuming is a spider pun. And if so, I approve.
She better have taken a picture because that's going in the Discord. If you're not on Patreon, you're going to miss spider pictures in Discord. If that was regular season, I'd be having stern words, but it's preseason, so that's very funny. Right. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I had 2 things to talk about that I've been badly distracted with, was first of all, very quick shout out to the man Eagles Eric, who worked with us over at Eagles Film Room last year, who has launched like a brand new business venture, combining stats and betting and lots of wonderful stuff. I think you knew that like Eric is the most geeky, nerdy stats man of all time, and he was always going to do something cool. So if you check my Twitter out, please go and have a look at it. And the second thing I want to mention, I have forgotten because you're showing the graph. That's it. I was using it to look up some stuff earlier on. I was going to talk about something to do with preseason, but we will get into it when we start. That was it. It was your thing, wasn't it? About QB play. Yeah, QB play and screenshots, just ignore them. Screenshots can be ignored. A lot of people, not to bore people with progressions, but most of Hurt's progressions are probably half filled. It's not a negative. It's not he can't do full field. It's the NFL these days, you don't get many QBs getting to like 4th and 5th reads. And if they are post-snap, they probably haven't got time to. So you essentially want to eliminate your side or where you're going to go with the ball pre-snap, and post-snap just confirms it. And if the side you want to go to, if it's open, then it's open. There is no need for you to even look backside. And I know people like it when they see the QB head like move to look off a safety. It's like, yeah, if you have to look off someone, if you don't have to look off anyone, just stare at your target, lock in, and throw the football. There is nothing worse than screenshot Twitter. And the other fun thing is, even if Barkley wasn't open and Hurts through it, you could still argue that the process is it's a running back on a linebacker with an option route and there's space in the field, and it's still the right decision. So, yeah, you are correct being on process over results, but also just it gets on my nerves more than anything. Screenshot Twitter. It is the worst. The absolute worst. Right, we are nearly 13 minutes in, Shane, of something we wanted to do very quickly, and we haven't even started talking about the game. So
why start now?
Can we just skip Andy Dalton and Tanner McKee and say Dalton's crap and Tanner McKee like check down half his throws and we didn't really learn anything about either of them?
I mean, I will say, as far as checking down all the throws, if the Patriots are just going to leave the flats wide open, Tanner McKee was playing football like I play Madden, and that's just spam the ball to the flat until they come down and take it away, and the Patriots just never took it away. But yeah, there's not a lot to be said. Dalton looked terrible.
I think I put in one of my tweets, literally, I just said, like, or in the BGN, there is no way the Patriots would ever play this defense in a regular season game.
Yeah.
It was pretty non-existent at times. There was just like, it wasn't exactly like a lot of great Eagles stuff. It was just like the guys running to the flat or there's emotion and there's just no one picking him up. And it's very easy. So I didn't really learn anything except for I don't get what the Eagles are doing with the quarterback position, really. I don't get giving Cole Payton no snaps at all in a preseason game, but I'm too old and done this for too long to care about what the Eagles are doing at backup quarterback or QB3, to be honest with you. So I don't get it. It's not what I would do. I assume Payton will play a ton of the third game. I think McKee's value is collapsing if the Eagles were thinking they would get anything decent. And I don't really know why Dalton's here. But I have nothing more on QB.
I will say, there's one play I want to talk about from QB play because I want to get your opinion on it. But before I do, I think the 2 main takeaways from this is the screen game is back. The Eagles ran a lot of screens. They really liked The halfback screen where the halfback starts out towards the flat and then comes back towards the middle of the field. I call it a misdirect screen. I don't know what terminology it would be, but here it is where you're coming back to the middle of the field. We saw that multiple
Yeah.
times in the game.
Is
And
it an
then,
angle? Depends what you want to call it. Oh, yeah, it's a weird one because he stops, doesn't he? Yeah.
yeah, it's almost like they run him out wide and then bring him back. And then we saw several QB or not QB, wide receiver screens as well.
Yeah.
So I think the screen game is back. And also the Eagles are in love with mesh rail now. They ran mesh rail multiple times in this game.
They are in preseason, yeah.
They ultimately got a touchdown on it on a hurdle play from Carson Steele, who hurdled 2 guys in this game.
Impressive.
So mesh rail making a comeback. But here's the one I wanted to talk about, Johnny. This one was also going around, and I'll walk us through it here, but you're going to get it's sort of a double move kind of from Britton Covey. Like,
So can we just talk about preseason when it's 4th and 1 and the Patriots have got 2 deep safeties and the Eagles aren't running? I love preseason. Imagine that look pre-snap on a normal NFL down on 4th and 1. No one's playing anyway. Whatever. Preseason.
Yeah. So you sort of get at the bottom of the screen, Britton Covey kind of runs like I don't know if I'd call it a double move. It's almost like it almost plays out like a wheel route, except he starts on the line of scrimmage. You get the tight end sitting, and then you get the post route and you get the dig route behind it. And it's 4th and 1. And you mentioned the safety play there. But I saw a lot of criticism. I think is this McKee? I think it's McKee for not taking the crossing route. I saw a lot of people saying if he throws the crossing route, it's a touchdown. And here's my take. And
is this the play I was going to talk about? Darius Cooper making it really nice. Yeah, I really like this play. Yeah.
So I think the safety is pretty well. I mean, at the point that he starts to release the ball right now, the safety still has 7 yards of depth. And so I don't think, I mean, it's not like this is Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, where you're like, we're going bombs away. I'm more than happy for my quarterback to throw this dig route that is going to be wide open. Like, we know for a fact this is going to be wide open. This one is more of a throw it up and see if your guy can run under it on 4th and 1. I just saw a lot of people saying this was a missed throw by, I think it was McKee. And to me, like, he made the throw that I would want my quarterback to make. I think you could make it. I think you have a shot to throw that post route, but I don't think it's a slam dunk. And I think
it is Andy Dalton, by the way.
Dunk.
He maybe can't throw the ball that far anyway.
Oh, it was
Dalton. I'll give you my take. So first of all, we don't know. It's great, isn't it? Come and pay for Eagles film room where I can tell you that without being in the room, we don't know. So QB analysis and football analysis is really hard because we don't know how to coach. So to me, this would come under the terminology of a dagger concept, maybe. Like, go back to the All-22 view at the start. For me, like, again, who cares about the terminology? But you could argue it's a dagger, just a vertical route.
It is dagger.
Yeah, and essentially a dagger route, you never throw the deep route. It's essentially a clear out. So as a QB, it may not even be on the menu. Now, the obvious phrase is like touchdown, first down, check down, and that's what every QB says. That's what they want on every play, but it's not really true. Now, if you go pre-snap, if McKee thinks he's got some sort of cover 2, it's middle field open. Sorry, if Dalton thinks he's got some sort of cover 2, cover 4 or whatever, the safety on the right side doesn't really move that quickly. So I think by the time Dalton's looking left, he probably thinks that safety is just playing like split safety. It almost ends up like a bit more of a single high safety. It's a weird coverage. Almost looks a bit cover 2 trappy at the bottom of the screen. And I haven't looked at this play until you've shown me now, except for like analyzing it myself. But my guess is that Dalton expects that safety at the bottom of the screen to be 5 yards further over anyway. So you can't look at the deep route, see if you like it, and then get back to the check to get back to the dig, because the dig has to be thrown there.
And the dig is thrown on time.
Yes, it has to be thrown in. Look how small the window is. You talk about NFL windows. He throws this early. If you want to give Dalton credit, this is his best throw by a mile. He throws this before he comes out of his break, and it's still only just there. Then you can go into another level of QB analysis and say 4th and 1. Are you going touchdown, first down, check down, or are you just going first down? So to me, I don't see any way he's throwing this ball deep. personally. I think there's so many factors against it. And knowing the way Dagger's coached a lot of the time, I remember Dagger really well, and I've mentioned this play before, but one of my favorite plays of all time to study was, this is going to make me sound very geeky and old, but Carson Wentz threw a deep ball to Jordan Matthews on, I think it was his rookie debut versus the Browns. Now I'm seeing if I can find it. And it was basically a dagger concept. And Matthews was a slot receiver and he was running vertically down the field. And it wasn't, I don't think it was his rookie game, actually. It was a deep throw. But anyway, I'm going to try and find the video while we're talking. And the reason why I mentioned it was because after the game, 2018, my goodness, there were so many comments about the fact that I can't believe he's thrown that ball, because essentially you never throw the vertical route as part of dagger. And they spoke, and like Jordan Matthews was speaking about after the game, saying, like, I'm very surprised he threw that, blah, blah, blah. So on dagger, you just don't normally look deep. So it's one of those things where QB analysis, if someone wants, again, on Madden to say he could make that throw, fair enough, maybe he could, but I don't think he's ever meant to make that throw, personally. So I will give Andy Dalton credit. And I can't find the play on about, which is annoying. But it was definitely to Jordan Matthews. I'm going to find it. It's going to annoy me. Do you want to talk about mesh rail? Because good question from Adam as well, asking you to explain it.
Yeah, I mentioned mesh rail, and Adam asked if I could explain it. So while Jonny looks, I'll throw this clip up here, and I can show the touchdown too. But mesh is a man-beating concept that typically you're going to have two receivers running drags, and generally one of them is trying to set a pick for the other guy. And so this is mesh. Sometimes you'll get, you might hear it called like mesh sit wheel. So you've got the mesh, and then you've got a sit route, which hypothetically is going to get open against zone. And then you've got the wheel route that you can throw to the halfback. I call it mesh rail. This is a rail route, a wheel route, whatever your terminology wants to be. But this is mesh rail. And Kurt Warner, I believe, hates this play because it doesn't have great answers against zone, but they catch man here. And so you get this mesh underneath, and you're also going to get this receiver is pushing vertically and going out here. And the reason this works is because now you have the halfback running the wheel route, and the guy responsible for him is this linebacker that now has to make it through all of this traffic. And so as you'll see here, he doesn't do a very good job at all, and he's just wide open. Now, could you call offensive pass interference on this? Maybe. There's definite contact there, but then you're just off to the races. And so that's mesh rail. The Eagles ran it again for a touchdown, and I showed this one earlier. This time it was from trips, but you still get the mesh, and then you get that rail route. They also ran it a third time in the game that almost turned into a sack because of a blown block by the right guard. But this time you see like the Patriots do a better job covering the rail route, and you would have a mesh. The mesh would be wide open over the middle of the field here, if not just for a total blown block by the right guard. So that's mesh rail. Mesh is just the concept of the dual drags, and rail is just another name for that wheel route. You'll also hear it called like mesh sit wheel. So that's mesh rail. Did you find your play, Jonny? Did I give you enough time?
I did, but it's on the Eagles website, and there's like ads galore. Maybe I'll post it later. But okay. I wasn't going mad. It was a 54-yard shot to Jordan Matthews versus Washington, whose name, I even wrote an article about the play, Shane. I've got a 2016 article by me. 2017, my goodness, I've been doing it for too long. Carson Wentz deep bomb to Jordan Matthews, and it was a dagger concept. And the reason why I mentioned it was because they were basically talking about that you just don't throw it. And I basically included the quote here from, I can't remember who the quote was from, whether it's Matthews or someone, but you just don't see the ball thrown to the slot receiver in here. I'm only clearing out space for the deep in. I think it's actually like a Tampa 2, which is why he takes the shot on the deep route, but it just doesn't happen very much in the NFL. We have gone so off topic today.
He did that to AJ Brown against the Steelers too, a couple of years ago.
Did he?
Jalen did. He threw the clear out route on dagger into like double coverage for a touchdown.
Normally they're like what do you call it? They're like alert routes. That's a fancy word, isn't it? Where you don't it's almost not part of the progression. You sometimes have deep routes that are clear out routes, but there's an alert. So if there's a certain coverage that you get, you can alert to it. which is why you always want run your routes hard as well. Jalen Rager, I hope you're listening.
AJ Brown, I hope you're listening.
AJ Brown, I hope you're listening, yeah, but he doesn't do many clear out routes. He's often the primary target. Right, we have gone the most off topic I think we've ever gone off on the show. If you want to know how much Shane hates preseason, I'm not even getting messages on the chat saying stick to the script.
I'm a man of the people. Adam asked to explain mesh rail, so we
I'm also perfectly
rail.
happy just chilling in a live chat and asking questions. There was some talk about offensive line, so we've already shown Darius Cooper and that play, the deep in. I loved that deep in. For the clear reason that I think Darius Cooper runs a good route. I think it's very similar to what the Eagles are going to do this year. I think the way he catches the ball away from his frame and then avoids the big hit, I think is perfect. So shout out Darius Cooper. I don't care about any other running back or receiver in this game. So can we just talk offensive line? So I think that's what the people want to know. So I do have a few clips on my thread. There's nothing in particular I wanted to show, like one particular player or anything. You can bring it up and run through a few of the run plays, starting from play one if you want. But I am really interested in the 53 this year. So on the Eagles film room, Philly Wannabe GM, by the way, is on a 3-part, because he's a madman, review of this game and the run game in particular and how good some of the blocks are. I thought Drew Kendall was really good. I know Lampkin's the flavor of the month because Lampkin's like an unbelievable finisher and he plays like his hair's on fire every snap. But Lampkin is still more up and down. I thought Kendall was really, really good. And I know it's backup defensive lineman, but I'd be very interested to see if Dickerson or Jurgens struggle this year, how quickly Kendall gets in the game, because I'd be looking to play him pretty quickly. You can see the double team here or combo from Kendall and Lampkin, but Kendall and Lampkin look very good. Markel Bell looked good again. There's a few plays that we could show running wise, like outside zone and stuff, but I won't get too technical. We spoke about them last week as well. But that was the big takeaway from me. I actually liked Cameron Williams' performance again, which surprised me because I went online and saw that Cameron Williams sucked apparently. And I was like, oh, damn. Yeah, Michael Bell had like 2 reps you're seeing on the screen. That play and the first play of the game that are just outrageous in terms of upper body strength. He also had some raw plays as well. The question I wanted to ask you, I made a comment about Fred Johnson earlier on as well, is I'm struggling to come up with a 53-man roster. Spoiler alert, I'm going to be doing one in my newsletter on Friday and not a prediction like what I would do. I'm struggling. I'm going to put my concerns out here. I want Cameron Williams to make the team because I liked him pre-draft and I still have hope, but I think he moves well. But Cameron Williams is playing backup right tackle to Michael Bell, and Michael Bell was obviously right tackle at the moment. Fred Johnson and Miles Hinton are playing left tackle. I don't think Fred Johnson's look very good. I worry about him in the new scheme, but I'm like, are you going to go into the season when you've got Super Bowl aspirations with Markel Bell and Cameron Williams as your backup tackles? So how do you think the Eagles handle offensive line moving forward? I think 1 or 2 good players are going to get left out. I don't count Miles Hinton in that because I don't think he's playing very well, if I'm honest. Jake Majors, is it as well? Also has looked good, the UDFA. But I'm looking at him thinking, I don't think he's got a chance because you've got Micah Morris, Woody Lampkin, and Drew Kendall. How many can you realistically keep? So, if it was regular season, I might break down some more plays. But just in terms of overall at the position, I thought Michael Bell was good. I thought Drew Kendall was awesome. And I thought Woody Lampkin was very good as well. Any thoughts, big picture, on the O-line in this game?
If Jordan Mailata went down, I would rather have Markel Bell playing left tackle than Fred Johnson, I think. And obviously, I'd like to have Fred Johnson as a fallback option because we've seen him in real games and we've never seen Markel Bell in real games. But I mean, we can say, yeah, he's playing right tackle in preseason, but he played left tackle in college. He's making a swap to right tackle to be Lane Johnson's backup. So it's not like you would be asking him to switch from the side he's always played. Now, obviously, live bullets flying in a real game, maybe he's just not ready. And so maybe you need to keep Fred Johnson around. And I'm not sure how to parse that out, but I have heard that Fred Johnson has struggled. And I would just, at this point, I would rather have Markel Bell. And if Fred Johnson's not going to be my top backup, then I would rather keep a younger guy that maybe has some potential like Cameron Williams.
Can we talk about the Cameron Williams sack on the last play?
Yes.
So I kid you not, one of the things I wanted to do obviously was when I'm watching the game back, I try not to read analysis elsewhere, but in preseason, I'm like, screw it. And I read like a stock up type thing and just thought, is there any players I want to look for in particular rather than going into the game fully blind? And someone said like Cameron Williams bad. And I was like, oh, that's a shame. I thought first week he was good. And then I was watching the film and I was like, he looks pretty good to me. And I know Wannabe GM called out as well in his video some of his good run blocks. And I was like, he looks all right to me. And then when I searched for Cameron Williams' name on Twitter, that was where I got the hatred.
If weight loss has felt like a losing battle, this summer can be different. Skip the guesswork and try Weight Loss by Hims. Access an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill and the Wegovy pen, plus the support to actually stick with it. With Wegovy at Hims, lose up to 20% of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate your appetite, eat less, and keep weight off. Plus, Wegovy is the first ever GLP-1 pill for weight loss, so there are no needles needed. Through Hims, everything happens online. You'll connect with a licensed provider who will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is delivered right to your door. No insurance necessary. Ready to reach your goals? Visit hims.com/FFSN to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's HIMS.com/FFSN. hims.com/FFSN. Weight Loss by Hims is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk AS. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit hims.com.
Something big is coming. On September 2nd, DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive offers, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun, and all roads lead to Game Day. So whatever your favorite sport is, DraftKings has you covered. So get ready to celebrate a new season, as new DraftKings customers get $200 in bonus bets when they sign up with code PINPULL and spend $5 within 21 days. That's code PIN, P-I-N, PULL, P-U-L-L. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Pennsylvania only. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 in non-withdrawable bonus bets issued every 7 days via click-to-claim for 21 days. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer. I've never been a nicotine user, but I'm always looking for ways to improve my focus and my energy, especially when I'm working out or I have a lot of work to get done. And I don't always want to rely on caffeine to help me get there. That's why I've been using Ultra pouches. They're 100% nicotine and caffeine free, but they still give me a noticeable boost in focus and energy without that jittery feeling or a later crash. So I'll pop one in 5 minutes before a workout or when I'm sitting down to grind film study and I really need to lock in. And I love that I get that energy boost without the cup of coffee in my hand. My favorite flavor so far is the Cool Mint, but it comes in multiple flavors: watermelon, citrus, blue raz. If you want to try them, new customers can use the code PIN, that's P-I-N, and get 15% off at takeultra.com. That's takeultra.com, code PIN. And when they ask where you heard about Ultra, please tell them the Eagles Pin Pull Network sent you.
Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. For instance, can the Pittsburgh Steelers win at least 9 games this season? If the Steelers do, they're currently trading at 45% probability. A $100 trade pays out over $200 if the Steelers reach just 9 wins. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use code FFSN to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25. KALSHI. Kalshi. Trade on anything.
There was a tweet going like, I get this guy away from Cole Payton. He's wrecked Cole Payton's rookie season, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I don't know. What's happened? And it was basically because it was this play. So from a sort of technique point of view, if you pause it here, just leave it to the All-22 angle, actually. Sorry, Shane, the end zone angle. When you've got defensive linemen this wide, you sort of see a stunt coming. as an offensive lineman. 2nd and 10, you can easily stunt on 2nd and 10 with 42 seconds left and you're losing. They're very wide. So pre-snap wise, mental processing wise, I'm thinking stunt. And by the way, the Eagles got a sack doing the exact same thing. Joshua Werdery later on, same idea. So I get why he thinks stunt. This is one of those reps where, like, you know, we always say everyone's biased. We're biased. We moan about people being biased, but we're biased as well. I like Cameron Williams because I liked him pre-draft. So I like athletic linemen with traits. So I'm like, I want him to do well. And everyone's saying this is a terrible rep. And I'm watching it and I'm going, okay, if you press play and then pause it, he screws up. So he jumps inside. He thinks it's a stunt. Can you see his arms out? That's classic how they're taught. I can't remember what the technical term is, but you're basically feeling for a stunt because you can't see it. And because he makes contact with 65, because 65 is so wide, I think he expects a stunt. And because of that, he doesn't get enough depth on his pass set. And he realizes now he's in panic stations. He is basically at this point leaning into the defensive tackle. And I think this is why being a good athlete matters. A bad athlete would now get killed because a bad athlete is allowed a defensive end, an edge defender, even though it's preseason, these guys are still good athletes, to essentially have a pretty clear go on the outside. But I think what Cameron Williams does is actually quite good, as much as that's a weird thing to say, because you do want to see offensive linemen that can recover, right? Because no offensive lineman is going to win cleanly at the snap. That's never going to happen 100% of the time. So being able to recover is something that you actually want to see. So Shane's getting fancy with his slow motion, but you can see here, I think he actually gets his arms back on him. And I think he gets them relatively near his chest, so it's not a push in the back. And I think you could argue that he might actually pass him past where where Cole Payton's drop is supposed to be. It's quite hard to see, but Payton's standing on the white line. And if you look at where he's actually hit, he's hit 2 yards behind the 20-yard line. So in a weird way, and this is why I'd love to be at a press conference and be a nerd like I am and ask the offensive line coach, I would love to know how they grade this rep. Because if you look really closely, you can argue it's not a good rep. I'm not saying it's a good rep. You don't want the player to misread it at the start of the play and mentally get it wrong. But you could argue that if you're looking for traits and you're looking to see can someone recover from a bad position, there's actually a little tick box in this play for Cameron Williams, and Cole Payton basically runs into the sack. It's a tricky one. Have you seen the stuff going around as well from Brady's days on like sack percentages, depending on who the QB is? And it is so obvious that QBs play a ginormous role in sacks. And this
Sacks
is a good example why.
Stat.
Yeah, if Payton steps up here, you could be looking at Cameron Williams making a nice job recovering.
I mean, if Cole Payton is a right-handed quarterback, this is probably a 15-yard scramble because there's a massive gap to scramble.
Yeah.
He just can't see it because it's coming from his blind side.
Did you see the play at all similarly, or did you see me tweet about it and think, oh, actually, yeah, because one of those things, isn't it? Like, what was your gut when you saw it, first of all?
I think that it's a bad angle by Cameron Williams, who then stumbles. Like, if you watch, he kind of stumbles
it's
right there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the line of scrimmage is the 28, and his guy beats it. I would say he beats him pretty cleanly, but still he is in contact with him 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage as he's cornering. And so I would grade that. I would say that's a loss for Cameron Williams, but he did a good job of recovering and giving the play a chance. And then Cole Payton also made a bad play.
And this is where it's preseason, because they would say traits, not outcome. Giving up a sack is like bad in a regular season game, but in a preseason game, you might go, we've just seen recovery, because you're going to have to see recovery quite a lot. I also think it's interesting, and I know, again, the great thing about football is stats are just one person's perspective on how you put the stats together, essentially. But I did go and look on PFF afterwards because I was interested to see, did they give him the sack? I was wondering who they gave the sack to. And unless they've updated it, last time I checked, yes, they did not give him, they said that he did not give up the sack. They counted it as a hurry. So I'm just looking at how PFF grade this. Again, no one is a be all and end all. They didn't give a sack to him. They didn't give a hit. They didn't even give the hit to him, obviously. They gave the hurry to him, which I think is interesting, the way they looked at it. He actually had the best or second best pass blocking grade behind Micah Morris, with his 47 snaps as well. I just thought it was interesting, like how you look at a certain play in preseason, because I look at it a very different way than if I'm looking at a regular season game where I'd say you can't get done like that at the start. There was one play that I tweeted out as well that I think was play, and you don't need to show it, to be fair, it was play 7. But it was just a nice play to show because he was totally isolated. The Eagles slid the line away from him, which you don't often see. You normally see the center slide, not always the guard slide. And he is as one-on-one can be. And in a lot of the research I've done of late, Scout Academy and stuff, the one thing they constantly talk about is a two-way go. When you get a two-way go, you have to win. And this is Braden Swinson. This is the dream. You can go anywhere. As an offensive lineman, you've got no advantage here with your set. And it's a really good rep. It's a really, really clean rep. I mean, Braden Swinson fell to the 5th round, probably for a reason. It's preseason again. And if you're against the top defensive lineman, they might win here. But I just wanted to point out that maybe I don't think he'll make the roster for what it's worth, because when I've looked at the sort of numbers, I think they'll keep Fred and I think they'll keep Michael Bell. So I don't think there'll be room. But it was one play I wanted to talk about because it's preseason. We've got time to kill. I know we haven't got very long because we're running late. So defense, I only really had like one takeaway anyway. So should we just talk about Ty Robinson?
Yeah, let's do it.
Is there anyone else you want to hit on defense? Like, honestly, Trotter's good. Keely Ringo bounced back. Fair play. Well played, Keely Ringo. It was cool to see Carl Wisniewski a little bit, but hasn't played enough for me to really take him seriously. For me, it's Ty Robinson.
Yeah, the only two people I really had things to talk about with were Robinson and Trotter. So
yeah, and one thing I think we try and do here is not, well, I try and do, and I know you do as well, is not like just back up things that we like. So I liked Ty Robinson, I think, more than you post-draft. I remember when we did the film review, but I quite liked him. And then last year I hated him and I was as down on him as anyone. And now after week 2 in the preseason, I'm saying he looks quite good. So you can change your opinion based on what you see. What did you make? Any clips you wanted to show of Robinson in this game?
He was active. He got a couple of sacks. There was one specific one that I posted of his run defense. So he's number 95 here to the right of the screen. And I thought this was a really good rep in the run game because he takes on a double team.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the center leaves to go after Trotter, which he's never going to get to, right? Trotter forces this play outside. This is not Robinson's contain.
Well, I wondered that. I wonder if it is. I wonder if
you think
AJ
maybe it
Epinesa is maybe. I'm wondering if it's like if this is deliberate. I can't tell, but it's hard to tell. It's possible that 35 Carter's meant to take the outside in this one. I'd be surprised if AJ Epinesa just went totally off script. It doesn't look like he's setting the edge to me. He looks like he's in, I'm going to kill the tight end mode.
Yeah. Well, I just mean, I would assume, and I guess it is an assumption, that you're not asking the D tackle to set the edge here.
Yeah.
So it's either Epinesa or it's somebody coming off the roof, but he's able to shed and get out here and make a play. And so I thought that was a really impressive run D rep. And then, of course, you've got some of his sacks. And I think this first one, he doesn't actually get the sack, but he gets somebody else free and then still almost gets to the quarterback. And then he had a pair of sacks. And so I was really impressed by Ty Robinson, a guy that I was not a fan of last year. And, if he can give some meaningful snaps as the 4th defensive tackle, that would be huge because it means we wouldn't have to watch Byron Young anymore. So I would be all about that.
Yep. So I'll give you a few things I liked as well. I know I'm going to show one more play, then we'll get out of there. When we watched Ty Robinson, it was like, oh, that's bad. And this is post-draft. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. That's really good. That's bad. That's bad. He has never been technically good. He's always been hit or miss, in my opinion. He's always been like a splash play. And I compared him in my review this week to a low-volume wide receiver. Like, imagine you get 3 targets a game and you go 2 for 75. That's what I want Ty Robinson to do. If I was quite... my 2 favorite quotes from my post-draft article, I described them as a wrecking ball and a ball in the china shop. Not a lot of technique, just pure physicality, intensity, like crashing into people. And this was so Ty Robinson, which I loved. That's what got me excited. I was like, oh, this is Ty Robinson that we saw in college, because I want him to look like that player. And I sort of want him to do that, come into the end of come into the end of the game, players are tired, it's a third down, go out there and make something happen. I think he's got that kind of sort of vibe to him, which I like. And by the way, it's preseason. We'll say it again. I did want to show one play of his, though, Shane, that I particularly liked. Two reasons I liked it. Number one, it did something he didn't do last year very well. And secondly, it was against, is it Caleb Lomu? Whatever his name is. Play 6 on my film thread. The only reason why I mention this is because you sometimes don't know who they're playing against in preseason. At the very least, he's going up against a first round tackle. So whatever you think of Caleb, and I think he's a terrible run defender, I'm not surprised to see Ty Robinson destroy him. It's still good to see how easy he makes this. Like 2 hands in the chest, he's in such obvious control. I think I mentioned this quote of late, but control with your upper body. Push with your lower half, whether you're an offensive lineman or defensive lineman, control with your upper body. It's hard to describe what control sometimes look like. You just get a feeling when you're watching someone, and it's like you can't see their eyes, but you could imagine he's like very calm because you know you've got someone away from your hands and you're just waiting. He looks very, very calm. So this actually goes against my like ball in the China shop. This is like a legit good play, which I like. And Fangio said it really well, didn't he? When he said he's been on life support since he turned up here, basically saying he's been crap. And he's been less crap the last 2 weeks. So that is a nice sign. I think the big takeaway, we could get into Josh Weru and Bernard, but I think maybe we'll save that for another day. We'll see what happens with the roster wise before we talk about them in particular. But for me personally, the big thing this week on defense was Ty Robinson looking like Ty Robinson.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I've talked about Trotter enough. I don't need
Yeah,
to
I
show
agree.
Trotter
I feel like
clips.
the Trotter hype's almost got too much now. Where like I like Trotter, but it's now like, why is he not starting? It's like it's just it's all relax.
Yeah, I did have some people that were like, how could you not play him over Jahad Campbell? And I was like, well, because Jahad Campbell's a better player. But that's just me, I guess.
Well, 50 times better athlete. That's the truth of it, isn't it? Bigger, better athlete, better in coverage. Yeah, that's true.
And I like Trotter a lot. It's the weird thing where like you can't not say you can't speak hyperbolically about, if you don't speak hyperbolically about a player, then you hate them. And
yeah,
I
got a really good comment as well that I was going to read out from Paul P. Demp on my Bleeding Green article this week, saying and basically complaining about how players are judged based off their draft stock. And I think this is true. And he basically said, like, if Keely Ringo was seen as like a normal day 3 pick, the Eagles would be talking about a steal with a cornerback they got in day 3. Instead, he was projected as a first rounder once upon a time, so people still think he sucks. And it's fair. He is incredibly inconsistent, Keely Ringo, and I find him very annoying. I find him annoying because in my head, he's still really talented. But if you had told me that, Keely Ringo was a 105 overall 4th round pick, okay, he's made a good career. Stuck around for 3 years, played some meaningful snaps. It is sometimes we have to remember, don't we? The way we talk about people is because we have different expectations for certain players. And when it comes to preseason, that's probably worth remembering as well.
Yeah, but what about Anthony Richardson and some of the throws he makes, Johnny?
He looks really
potential
good,
there.
Shane. He's shortened the release. I'm telling you. It's going to be good when he throws more than like 10 passes a season. I made a little sarcastic tweet about that the other day. And also, unfortunately, it's bad news that if Dak Prescott gets hurt this year, Shane, Joe Milton, they won't lose a step.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, get in the Patreon because we can say our real thoughts in there.
They might be better even.
Yeah. There's a few other interesting takes in there, isn't there? I think a UDFA is better than 2 established quarterbacks as well.
Yeah.
But we'll leave it there. If you don't know what we're talking about, we're not going to fire shots at people on air. The Patreon, we say whatever we want. Shall we plug the Patreon very quickly as well and just say we're still half price for a couple of weeks left. We have been growing quite a lot of late, which is nice. We're going to have all run and game and defense data. You've obviously got your past game review. Previews will be back before week 1, which I'm looking excited for. So if you aren't in the Patreon yet, there is no excuse, in my humble opinion, not to at least try a $5 for $2.50 for a month. And see if you like it, because the Patreon's awesome and the Discord's awesome. And I think once you're in, we normally keep people in, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like Johnny said, 50% off. The code is advertised on Patreon. So you don't have to remember a code. You can just go to our Patreon, patreon.com/Eagles Film Room, and it'll say, hey, there's a 50% off sale right now off your first month. But just to run down it again one more time, and there's a graphic on screen here, but if you join our free tier, you will get Jonny's weekly newsletter, my Sometimes When I Have Time newsletter, and ad-free versions of this podcast and of Chalk Talk, and the improved audio quality too, which comes in clutch with Jonny's internet issues at times. Although today went well.
First time using an Ethernet.
So, yeah.
There you
And
go.
then-
Shout out Discord for abusing me every week.
And then at $3, $5, and $7 a month, we have varying content depending on what you want to get. Everything from exclusive On the Shane page content to requesting stat lookups for us to full run, pass, defense reviews, and opponent previews. So all that stuff is going to be coming your way. And of course, hanging out in the Discord where we chat throughout the day as well. So, if you're interested, come join at least the free tier, and you don't get the Discord, but you do get the newsletters. I should have one out tomorrow. You'll get ad-free versions of this, and we think you'll like it, want to stick around, and hopefully want to subscribe to one of our higher tiers.
There we go. Let's get out of there. 45 minutes on preseason is 44 minutes too long.
I mean, to be fair, 15 minutes of it was training camp. So
even better. I like training camp film.
From
more
a cell
training
phone
camp
video.
Film. Can you imagine if the Eagles ever publicly released more training camp film? That would be cool.
Go fact check ESP stats.
Yeah, no, there was a great quote, wasn't there? So I'm not going to keep talking, but from Kevin O'Connell about interceptions in training camp and why he wants his QBs to throw them, because he wants them to figure out what they can and what they can't do. But don't tell ESP, because it doesn't break records when you do that.
Well, as it turns out, JJ McCarthy figured out what he can't do, and that's play NFL quarterback. So there you have it. Firing shots at the Vikings here, but that we're going to get out of here because we don't need to talk about the Vikings, and we don't need to talk about the preseason anymore. So thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate all of your support throughout the last couple of seasons, and we're looking forward to hanging out with you guys this season, breaking it down. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed, the Eagles Pinpool Network. We're on YouTube, where we live stream to. There's a live stream on Twitch, and of course the Patreon at patreon.com/Eagles Film Room. Thank you guys for joining, and we will catch you all next time.